Hey folks, welcome back to another episode of Star Wars Fan Chat, where we get to know your fellow Star Wars fans, talk to people from all around the world. It's been pretty exciting so far this year. This one I've been looking forward to for a couple of months. I've had this one organized. Fellow YouTuber, fellow Star Wars nerd, and if his name doesn't say it, Star Wars obsessed. That's you're in for a good time when you're talking to someone who goes by the alias of Star Wars obsessed. But his Earth name is Mr. Richard Dale. So let's bring Richard on and we'll get into it and we'll start talking some Star Wars. How are you, Richard?
Hey, I'm doing well. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
No problems at all. I appreciate you coming on, making some time in your... What time is it there now? You're in Long Beach, California.
It's 5:30.
5:30 p.m. Yeah.
On a Saturday.
Awesome. Yep. Cool. So what's the weather like over in California today?
Oh, right now it's sunny most of the time, and
sounds like California.
Yeah, that's the weather. It's sunny and bright and warm.
Awesome.
Although inside my house is a little bit chilly, so I keep it chilly here. So I'm wearing the sweater.
Yeah, it's a little bit stuffy in here, so I've got the fan on, as you can see, as you pointed out before. That's my number one Star Wars fan.
I love
Big
it.
Fan of the channel. Big fan of my channel. Already got some people in the chat here. This is fantastic. Greedo and a Speedo.
All right. Love it.
That's not a mental picture I've ever had come to mind, but it's there now, and that's not going anywhere. Mando Love 704, also known as Linda. Hi, Linda. Hope you're doing well.
Hi.
Brian's here. I'll be talking to Brian. Will be on next week. We'll be doing this, so I'm looking forward to that too.
All right.
Landspeeder Luke's hanging out too. What's up, Luke? Hope you're doing well. Appreciate that. But yeah, just so you know, I've got a little banner down the bottom. So you can follow Richard on Instagram, The Real Star Wars Obsessed, on YouTube, at Star Wars Obsessed. Go and check him out. Give him a follow. Send some love. But yeah, I guess
that is so cool.
Yeah, it's a nice handy little thing that just keeps rolling around, keeps rolling along. So yeah, I guess just to start off, tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do, when you started YouTube and social media stuff, and what's your enjoyment, what do you get out of it, and all that kind of thing.
Well, I'm a Californian, born and raised in California. And the first time I saw Star Wars, it just caught me, and I was enthralled, and I became a Star Wars lifer. And from the very beginning, I just started collecting anything that had to do with Star Wars. And the one thing that I had difficulty doing was sharing my love for Star Wars back in the day with lots of people. And then when YouTube came around, and I thought, well, hey, this would be a perfect avenue for sharing my love for Star Wars, my complete obsession with Star Wars, as you could see.
Yeah.
So I think that started in 2013.
Yeah.
I think that was, and I started pretty bad though. I didn't know what I was doing. My videos were terrible.
None of us did. None of us did, my friend. It was all. It was such a new thing. It was like, how do we do? What are we doing?
Oh my goodness! So
so
a lot of those videos are gone, but yeah, it's just all about connecting with Star Wars and connecting with people who love Star Wars and sharing that love.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there. That's exactly why I keep doing what I do. It's not just talking about toys. It's about connecting with people that are also Star Wars obsessed.
Indeed.
No, so it's nice to see a fellow sail barge owner as well in the midst.
Oh, excellent.
So, yeah, I was very, very lucky to get one of those myself back in the day, like when that was released. I was very lucky because we didn't think we were going to be out of here in Australia at the time, but Hasbro did a wonder for outside of the US, and I think, because I can't remember if the UK had access to the barge back then, but it was basically outside the US. They basically had an eBay link for people to be able to go on and buy one through an eBay channel. So was able to get one back in the day. So I'm still very, very grateful for being able to have that thing, because it's an incredible piece, and very, very lucky to have one.
Excellent. Is it in your room right there?
Yeah, it is. It's over that way. It's hard because I haven't got a webcam. I'm using the built-in on the laptop, but let's see if I can do a little shuffle there. There it is.
Ah, there it is. Yes, excellent.
I just need a Sarlacc pit, and I'd be very happy.
Yeah.
Hasbro need to do another Sarlacc pit, or and that 4-pack that just came out with the Velkin Tazeri and those figures that didn't release down here. So I'm still trying to track those down.
Oh, that stinks.
Yeah, they just never showed up, and now they're like.
Yeah, that must be very frustrating as a collector that that some things don't get to Australia.
Yeah, I mean, fellow collectors in New Zealand have it as well. We're not the only ones in the world that miss out on stuff like that. But I don't know. It seems to be getting better in some aspects, and then others, it just doesn't happen. But so to get one of those packs, it's going to cost like anywhere between $200 and $300 on eBay. So, that might be a wait and see.
Dang.
Maybe good old faithful Tung Hori will put up some loose ones at some point.
Oh yeah, that's ridiculous.
We got just a quick question for you here from Anything Star Wars. Richard, do you have all vintage Star Wars cards, blue, green, yellow, and so forth?
Vintage Star. The yes, I do.
Cards.
Well, I don't have the complete. I'm missing cards, but I do have, all the colors.
Awesome. That's cool.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll start with the questionnaire list. I was very, very appreciative to see that you've prepared notes, prepared answers.
Here they are.
That's awesome. So we'll kick off with the first one is, what are your first memories of Star Wars?
Well, if you're referring to like when I first saw Star Wars, that was back in 1977, and I actually got to see Star Wars first run in the theater.
Awesome.
And it was an amazing experience, and it was life-changing. I could just picture the Star Destroyer going overhead and just going, wow, this is amazing. And ever since then, it's been with me. I guess you could say obsessed or Star Wars lifer. I remember another fond memory is when I was in high school and Return of the Jedi had come out, and we weren't able to see it for a while. But I did have the Return of the Jedi storybook with all the pictures and all that.
Yeah.
But I was carrying around with me at high school. So
that's awesome.
I'm walking around with this book, and people are like, "Oh, did you see the movie? Did you love it?" And I said, "No, I haven't seen it yet." Like, but why are you carrying around the book? It's giving everything away. And I said, "I don't care. I just need to have it with me, and just when I'm ready to see Return of the Jedi, it'll be the most wonderful thing." But yeah, those are one of the fondest first memories that I have of Star Wars back in the day.
That's cool.
But as far as collecting goes, an early memory, when I had a set of the first few figures like Luke and Leia and R2, and they had been stolen. And so basically I had to restart my collection. So this was probably in 1980, 81. Hi. 80, 81. And I had a really good friend who was also obsessed and collecting of Star Wars. And when I was ready to be able to restart my action figure collection, I wanted to pick one that he didn't have.
Sure, yeah.
So I was like, well, he doesn't have Hammerhead, so I'm going to get Hammerhead and just look what I got. You don't have this one.
That's awesome.
So, kids. It was fun.
Yeah. I still remember going to, when I was in high school, I started high school in 2001, So just before Attack of the Clones come out, and I still
Wow.
have a series of folders of keepsakes where I sort of kept magazine cutouts, newspaper articles, anything about Star Wars, food packets, stuff like that. I'd keep it all in a folder. I remember carrying this thing in my backpack in 2002. I was in 9th grade. And yeah, like yourself, I'd bring it out in the class and I just flick through it and everyone would be like, oh, you know, why do you carry that around? And it's just, you know, just nice to have something on me. Like, I don't know, that just when you were telling your story about carrying around the storybook, it sort of, yeah, just reminded me of that time back when I was like 13 or 14, just carrying that folder around at school.
Yeah. These are just the people that don't get it.
Yeah. And I'd leave all my textbooks at home because I was like, I can't carry around school stuff and my Star Wars stuff.
Exactly. Yeah, I had my backpack in high school, and I had the Return of the Jedi patch that I'd sewn onto the backpack.
Oh, nice. Awesome.
Yeah, and then I'd have the novelizations in my locker. just the Star Wars with me all the time.
Yeah. Well, that's the same for most of us here, I think, in the chat and all that. We're all it's the big constant in life, isn't it? It's the one thing that carries through. You know, we go through. I've said it before. We go through relationships. You move houses. You do this. You do that, and it's Star Wars is always there. So it's good. It's good to have that stuff close to the heart.
Yeah, for sure.
Brian says, love these chats. Awesome way to spend a Saturday evening enjoying an adult beverage while opening a couple of figs and beginning a new diorama. Awesome.
Excellent.
That's sick. Yeah, sorry, he was working on Doc Ondar's Den of Antiquities, so that'll be cool. I'm excited to see how that comes out.
Oh, yeah. That should be awesome.
So getting into a few of the questions that are all like favorites, which, you know, it's always cool to compare what other people say, and people like to jump in the comments and tune in with their favorites as well. I should monitor that, see if anyone changes from week to week.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's your favorite Star Wars film?
Well,
only one.
Hello. All right, Obi-Wan, or only one Kenobi. Sorry,
only one. Yes.
My favorite. Well, you know, my prime years with around the original trilogy, so it is The Empire Strikes Back. That is a masterpiece in filmmaking.
Couldn't agree more.
But I'll have to be honest with you. Back in the day, after Return of the Jedi came out, my list was Star Wars, Return of the Jedi, The Empire Strikes Back. But as I've gotten older and throughout the years, I've appreciated the depth that The Empire Strikes Back goes into. You know, it's just a beautiful, perfect movie. I just love that one. It's beautiful. It's tragic. You know, it's uplifting. It's just a wonderful movie.
It takes a little bit more of a grown-up approach to sort of have that understanding of what the movie's doing. Whereas A New Hope, it's very much a all ages adventure. Return of the Jedi, for the most part, is a all ages adventure. Empire Strikes Back, yeah, it sort of fits in the middle there, but it's also an all ages adventure. But there's a few different levels of depth where a bit of life experience helps you understand it a little bit more.
Yeah, I agree. I think some of the things that like for example, Return of the Jedi has some things I love that movie, but some things kind of make me cringe, like the Tarzan yell that Chewbacca gives, like that. It's like that kind of stuff, just like bump down, man. I can't. But The Empire Strikes Back is just perfection.
Yeah. I think the only one moment that annoys me in Empire Strikes Back is when Chewie gets thrown into the cell. No, what's going on? There's the alarm's going on. Han's just been tortured. He gets thrown into the cell. Chewie's in there. And just that siren is going and Chewie's growling. And it's just, if you've got that on surround sound, that's one moment. It's just like, get through this little, like, it's just, I don't know whether it's just a sense thing where it's just like my ears are just like there's too much going on in this very moment sound wise.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. It's
Yeah.
It's not that I hate it. It's just, you know, I just get a little bit overwhelmed by all the sounds that's going on. It's this, high pitched wailing alarm and Chewy roaring, and it's like when you got dogs barking and phones ringing. And I don't know.
All right.
Yeah, we got some great people in the chat tonight. Thanks for everyone for tuning in and coming and hanging out with me and Richard. Lots of fun, always good fun. Who's your favorite Star Wars character, Richard?
My favorite Star Wars character has always followed me from the very beginning. It has never changed, and it's Luke Skywalker. There's been a lot of wonderful characters throughout the Star Wars years. You know, I mean, I love Han Solo, I love Princess Leia, I love them all, but Luke Skywalker is the one that I first and always connected with, because he embodied the purity of goodness, you know, the thing that wants to fight back evil and stop the bad thing, you know, just, you know, be the one to spread the goodness throughout the universe, you know, and that's why I like Luke Skywalker. It's my favorite.
That's awesome. But how have you felt about recent appearances such as the sequels, and then, you know, more recently like The Mandalorian and Book of Boba Fett? Like,
I liked him in The Mandalorian.
Yep.
And that season 2 finale when he comes in to pick up Grogu, I lost it when, you know, it was.
We all did, yeah.
It was. I was just tears. I was sobbing like a baby, you know, because it was like, oh my God, it's Luke Skywalker, the way we remember Luke Skywalker from back in the day, and he's in The Mandalorian. I never thought this would happen again. It was just like a flood of emotions. It was the best. But how he was treated.
Yeah,
how he
I still
was
recall that. Sorry, you go. You go.
But how he was treated in the sequel trilogies, you know, being all like grumpy and surly. You know, while I enjoyed the movies, I think their portrayal of him, you know, they could have done a little bit better than just make him like the surly old hermit man, you know. But yeah, that one, you know,
there's a lot of time in between. There's a lot of blanks to fill between 6 and 7. You know, there's a lot of blanks to fill. So yeah, it's going to be a little bit. It's going to be a little bit jarring for a lot of people that have followed and hung out with Luke for 30 to 40 years, and then such a drastic change in person. It's going to be a little jarring for a lot of people. Especially
when you know, throughout the years there's all the expanded universe stories.
Yeah.
You know, in the comic books and the novelizations, so you get to know the Luke Skywalker throughout the years, what he was doing. It was very heroic throughout those years, and then Disney comes around and says, "Nah, all that's gone. This is how he is now." Like, come on.
But yeah, I still recall, you know, watching that season 2 finale of The Mandalorian, and from the X-Wing flying in, it was almost like, is this? I didn't believe it when the X-Wing was flying into that hangar. I was like, no, I don't know who this could be. Like, I'm just going in. I'm just, it can't be. You know, I can't even remember what I was thinking. It was just too much. And then they show the scene on the monitor of, you know, the hooded character walking through, and then it actually goes to that shot behind him where he lightsaber ignites.
Yeah.
And I went from sitting on the edge of the couch to literally on my knees on the floor, like just a mess, just an absolute mess. Just, welling up, you know, just could not believe what I was seeing.
It was one of the best times in television, that's for sure.
Couldn't agree more.
Hello.
Some more folks hanging out. This is awesome. So Luke Skywalker, favorite character.
Yes, Luke.
So yeah, like you said, there's so many characters in Star Wars, lots in the background. Do you have a favorite background character or alien?
See, that one was really tough because I never thought about it.
I think he means guest. I think he's talking about you.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Honestly, I've never thought about a favorite background character. But I decided, okay, let me just pick one that's not a main character, but has been in the forefront recently. And I picked R5D4.
Yes, my spirit droid.
Because, well, he's been in The Mandalorian and just brilliant the way they used him in The Mandalorian. I also loved the extended story that was written in From a Certain Point of View. Have you read that?
Yeah, I have. I've only done the New Hope one. I haven't done the more recent ones from Empire and Jedi, but yeah.
The story with R5D4 and how basically he was the one that helped the rebellion.
Yes.
Beautiful. I loved it. So he would, because of that, that has to be R5D4.
A noble sacrifice. Noble sacrifice indeed. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Right. So they're my Black Series shelves behind me, and right on that sort of middle column, you can't see it from here, but from the Black Series R5D4 that came out last year, I cut out this image from the side of the box, the panel, like so the colored picture. He's right there in the middle. He's my spirit droid, and I have plans of adding him to my arm. So I've got BB-8 on my arm.
Oh, wow.
It says Happy Beeps. I want to get R5D4 in the same sort of thing down around here somewhere on my lower arm.
Excellent.
Just saying like bad motivator or something like that. I don't know yet. I haven't decided on the wording, but I've got to get that done at some point.
So what is your interest in R5D4?
Just he's I don't know. It all comes from that Robot Chicken sketch, I think, where it was just he did the whole. He's like, Luke's like comes in and R5's laying on the couch watching TV. He's like, you got stuff to do. He's just like, no, I'm not really feeling it. I'll do it tomorrow. And Luke's like, hello, and this droid's got a bad motivator. I don't know. It kind of stems from the funny side of that. But yeah, like you said, your story, and I don't know. I've just really grown to like the droid, and then having him show up in Mandalorian and basically become Din Djarin's, astromech sidekick. It's just perfect. It's awesome.
Yeah,
they're nice
totally,
little
totally.
And he was the like Crazy 8 here says, true hero of the rebellion. Yeah, it could have gone a different way if he'd just gone with Owen and Luke. Like it would have been very, very different.
Yep, for sure.
It's a noble droid legend.
Yes.
So that sort of leads into the next question, which I think we've just answered, which is favorite droid. Would you stick with R5?
I would not.
You wouldn't? Okay. Okay.
Well, I love R5D4 as a background character. My favorite droid is C-3PO.
Fantastic.
Because, well, classic character. But I one thing I love about the Star Wars universe is that they embodied the droids. Yes, indeed. It is that they embody the droids with basically human emotions. And so C-3PO has all those human emotions, and I just love his portrayal, and some of the things that he says are just brilliant, and he's just so campy at times, like when he's in Jabba's palace and they're taking him away, and he's like, R2, don't leave me. just stuff like that just cracks me up, or even in Star Wars when he says, you need to come back. You wouldn't want my life to get boring. You know, I just
Yeah.
love that stuff. Just brilliant.
It adds so much to the personalities of effectively like a robot that, you know, it's all programming, but at the same time they're programmed to have thoughts and, you know, personalities. It definitely adds something to it.
I just love it.
I was at work the other day and we had Attack of the Clones on, and there's the scene where, you know, 3PO has had the head swap with the battle droid, and he's getting his head carried around. Like R2 goes and pops 3PO's head off, and he's like, "Oh, this is such a drag." And it's like within that same sort of 5 minutes of sequence, Jango Fett's just had his head cut off by Mace Windu, and 3PO's cracking jokes about being headless. I'm like, I'd never correlated that before until the other day, and I was just like,
yeah,
wow, that's kind of like, that's a little bit savage to be making like headless jokes. Like, imagine if R2 was just dragging him past Boba Fett, like little Boba's just sitting there.
Oh yeah, I didn't even think
like,
about
I've
that.
lost
That's
my
hilarious.
It's just like, oh, that's a little bit. That could be a little bit savage if it was if it was timed a little bit better.
Yeah, sure could have.
Cracking jokes about being headless. Do you have a favorite planet?
Oh, that one was another tricky one, because that's never something I never thought of. My favorite planet. I don't know if this counts, but the planet is Bespin, but I love Cloud City.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you considered that part of it or something.
I'd count that. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I just think what I love about it is that it's very imaginative in that they have a city that's floating, that's basically in the sky, and it uses this technology to stay up in the sky when, you know, at some point it could fall, but I just love that this creativity of just having the city in the clouds, and then it's beautiful. The scenery is beautiful around it. It's just gorgeous.
Well, I think it's meant to be specified that Bespin itself is like a gas giant, so it's not necessarily a solid rock planet.
Yeah,
it's almost, a pool of gas, and that's why it's such a big gas mining.
Okay.
Sort of.
So if it falls, it just goes right through the planet.
I suppose so, yeah, or it just gets caught in the density. So I guess it's a city that's never gonna crash. So whether it sort of can stay in orbit around the planet, sort of around that sort of central ball of gas, it can sort of stay in orbit and sort of just like a satellite.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
But yeah, I love the analogy of Cloud City almost being, almost heaven and hell like. It's, it's alluring, this, beautiful city in the clouds, wonderful views, very sort of, Lando's not so welcoming at the start, but, very much, welcoming. But then you get dragged into the lower depths of the place, and it's dark, it's orange. There's, Luke faces his demons down there, basically. It's, he virtually takes a trip through hell, and back again at the end.
Wow, that's film. Deep. I never thought of that.
So it is almost, this sort of big heaven and hell analogy. He thinks he's going to find his saviors in this place, or be a savior in this place, and then gets dragged through the depths of hell to fight his father, and it all gets pretty full on from there. But I definitely like Bespin and Cloud City in particular. I think it's a great location. That's a really good answer.
For sure.
So this one is a question I put in a few streams ago. It's a newer one. If you could have a lightsaber, whose would it resemble, and what color would it be?
Oh, okay.
I want to reword that. I do really want to try and reword that question at some point. Just I don't know how to yet. So,
well, I did assemble a lightsaber when I went to Galaxy's Edge.
Again, jealous.
And this is what it looks like.
Nice.
And it's elemental.
Yep, I love that.
And this is the color that I chose. Can you see? It's blue.
Blue, perfect. Yep.
But yeah, this is what I liked. I thought it was very different. I thought the design is beautiful.
Yeah, I like the ornateness to it, and as I say, it's meant to be a rancor tooth, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah, I like that.
it makes
That's
it
really cool.
difficult to rest the
I
lightsaber
can
this way,
imagine, yeah.
but and it's really heavy, but yeah, it's gorgeous. You
Love
know,
that.
it was in Savvy's workshop where we had this whole presentation on building a lightsaber. And I thought, I love Luke Skywalker, and I thought, well, maybe I'll just build Luke Skywalker's lightsaber, but that has been done so many times. Even at toy stores, they release Luke Skywalker's lightsaber. So I
Yeah,
thought, okay, well, of the designs that I see, what would I like that's not Luke Skywalker? And this is it.
I love it. Yeah, you can get a lot to know about someone's personality based on the kind of lightsaber they make. I think that's sort of definitely the aim of the thing.
Yes, indeed.
Sort of you end up with this sort of mechanical looking with a red blade. It's like, yeah, I kind of know a little bit more about you now. You're a little dark side.
For sure. I see. Oh, I missed that. What do you say, Palpatine?
I said, I see you constructed a new lightsaber.
Excellent.
I'm pretty sure my good friend here, Palpatine, 1975, he could recite the movies word for word just by watching them. Probably not even need to watch it. He can probably just recite the whole films word for word. He could just read it to you over the phone.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. And I thought I've seen the movies a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, these are a couple of good questions I like. What moment in Star Wars makes you feel happy?
Excuse me. Well, I don't know. This might seem cliche, but it's at the end of Star Wars when they, the Death Star trench, Luke Skywalker is there, and then Han Solo comes in, blasts the TIE fighter, Darth Vader goes, and then Luke hits the Trent. No, what is it called again? The exhaust port, and they take off and it explodes, and all of that just fills me with joy. It's every time I watch that, it's the intensity. It's amazingly, it's filmed so well that every time I watch it, it's still so suspenseful. I know what's going to happen, but I'm still filled with suspense. And then when Han comes in and all that happens, it's just this release and this joy that they defeated the Empire as much as they did by blowing up the Death Star, and it's just so joyful. And then the celebration, it's just all of that. It's just amazing. Just fills me with joy.
It is. I always refer to A New Hope as or Star Wars, depending on what generation you are and what you like to call it. I always call it the great leveler. Like, when sometimes when you get a little bit bogged down by, you hear stories of some of the weird stuff that comes out in the comic books, and sometimes you get a little bit overwhelmed by all the information that's out there about Star Wars, and sometimes you can get a little bit burnt out on some things. It's good to just go and watch the original Star Wars again and just go back and watch it from the beginning, and just it's just such a nice beginning, middle, and end chapter. It's refreshing. It's a simple good versus evil story. There's you're not sort of bogged down with all the minutiae and all the little bits and pieces that you can get sometimes, especially if you're
or the politics.
The politics, yeah, the Facebook comments, all the fun that goes on there. But yeah, it's good to go back and just sit back and watch Star Wars as it was 10 years before I was born.
Woo.
Yeah, I was an 87 baby.
Wow.
Late in 87. That's a good moment, though. That's a really good moment. Yeah, it's sort of a nice bookend too to the shock and surprise, which I still get watching A New Hope when the Star Destroyer comes across. When watching it out in the living room, got a good size. I think I got a 60 or a 65-inch TV, and got the surround sound. You draw the curtains closed, and it's all you just are alone with your senses, and you watch that thing come over, and it's still wow. Like you still just look at it and go, wow. Imagine seeing that for the first time again. Like it's just one of those film moments. It's like I want to see that for the first time again and just get that feeling.
It's pretty amazing.
But yeah, and then bookended by the end, the celebration and all that. It's so good. It's such an amazing moment. Going a little bit on the somber side, what moment in Star Wars makes you sad?
I don't think there's a sadness as in there's a loss kind of sadness, maybe. But I always feel kind of sad when at the end of The Empire Strikes Back. Not necessarily because they lost and they were defeated, but because, and this comes back to back in the day when I first saw it, that it wasn't over. The story wasn't finished, and the music swells, and they're talking about going to find Han Solo and rescue him, and then they don't know what's happening, and it's sad in that it's going to be over, but the story's not done yet. That's the part that makes me sad.
Yeah, it's almost like a there's that instilled hope. You're ready to see that play out.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, I'm gonna have to wait now. But now you just chuck another disc in, and it's good to go.
And I love right. Whereas I had to wait, 3 years to see it resolved, but it was still I didn't have any negativity towards the fact that it wasn't finished, that it was basically a cliffhanger. I just was sad in that, it wasn't finished. And, I'm going to have to leave this for now. I have to leave this world for the moment unfinished, and I don't want to. And that makes me sad. I want to see more.
That's the one thing I love about Empire Strikes Back is sometimes you finish watching it. It's like, I'm just going to start it again. And you can watch it again, just 2 times in a row. It's just, replay. Let's watch that again. That was good.
Yeah, it's an amazing
music. The music at the end there too, with them on the medical frigate watching out over the nebula. Like it's just such a, it's this last little glimmer of hope in a otherwise sort of hopeless movie. Like it's a pretty big defeating movie, like for the good guys, and then you get that sort of swell of hope at the end. It's so good.
Yeah, I agree. Beautiful.
Now, do you have a favorite quote from Star Wars?
Well, I think there's a lot of really good quotes, especially in the original trilogy. They have a lot of amazing quotes, especially from C-3PO, I just love, the one, at least you're in one piece. Look what happened to me. And The Empire Strikes Back. Love that one.
Yeah.
I also love when Luke Skywalker is upset that R2 wouldn't replay the message from Leia. And then, 3PO says, well, I don't think he likes you. And no, I don't like you either. Love it. It's just hilarious. It's just the personality right there, their interaction and the character chemistry between those two is just brilliant. I love that. But
banter between the droids.
I love it. But the other quote that I really love is the one from Yoda. The luminous beings are we? Not this crude matter.
Yep. No, that's a good one. I like that.
Yeah.
That's I don't know. There's so many of those insightful Jedi centric, quotes that just it resonates so much when you just think about it all the time. Like it's the other go-to one. A few people have mentioned in streams is Qui-Gon's quote from episode 1 where he says, "Your focus determines your reality." And that's another really good one in that sort of, it's sort of something you can apply to real life if you wish. If it's, Yeah, that's best way I can describe it, I think.
Yeah, sounds good.
But yeah, that's a good one,
I,
Yoda.
I don't have a lot of quotes from the prequels because I haven't really watched those very much. I
Yeah,
haven't been
you
able
stick
to
with
really.
the originals mostly.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, that's fair.
I tried rewatching The Phantom Menace when they re-released it in 3D,
Yep,
and I just couldn't. I don't
couldn't. No.
know. It's yeah, the prequels didn't really work for me, and even the 3D didn't help.
Oh, the 3D was a big gimmick. I'm
Sorry.
glad that sort of gone away. The 3D thing, like it was
Yeah,
such a gimmick for the time, and I don't know. It sort of got to a point where it's like, oh, okay, I see what they're going to do now, and it's going to be more about the depth as opposed to it is like having crap flying at your face in the movie theater.
yeah,
But then everyone had to buy 3D TVs and 3D Blu-ray players, and you had to go buy glasses, and it was just no one really cared that much. It was just
yeah.
it was a marketing gimmick for Avatar, I think, and it sort of just
Oh yeah.
spiraled out of control and then died a very short death.
Yeah. But see, when it comes to 3D, I'm more of the old school 3D, the way they did back in the day where everything had to come out of the camera and this kind
Yeah,
of stuff. I love that. I mean, if I want to see something 3D, that's what I want. And then when they
yeah,
stopped doing that and it was just about the depth, I was just done. I was like, what's
yeah.
the point?
Well, yeah. What's the point? Yeah, if it's not shot well enough to
Yeah,
convey that depth, you shouldn't need to amplify it with effects. Do you think
for
you'll give
sure.
Phantom Menace another shot when it's re-released in May, or off the table?
Oh, I don't think I knew it was going to be re-released in May.
Yeah, for 25th anniversary,
Oh,
just to make everyone feel that much older than we already are.
that's how out of the loop I am with the prequel. Huh. I don't
There's an
know.
incredible poster out there for it that was released maybe a month ago, maybe 6 weeks ago. Really beautiful episode 1 Phantom Menace poster for the 25th anniversary getting a re-release.
Oh, I'll have to
And
check that
people
out.
say rumor is that it's been upscaled for 4K, for like a
Oh
4K release.
wow.
So, where it's been not reshot, but sort of adjusted to be 4K quality. So
Wow.
definitely
Nice.
intrigued to go and check it out.
I
Just to go
might
see a Star Wars movie in the cinemas again, it'll be good.
maybe I will if they cut out all Jar Jar Binks.
You might only be in there for 40 minutes then.
Release the Phantom edit.
What's your favorite life message from Star Wars? That's most people sort of generally come from the quote. They generally sort of lead in together a little bit. But if yours is different, what would it
The
be?
quote?
What was your life message?
Well, you said there's a quote?
So it could be similar to the quote. A lot of people's quotes sort of lead into what their favorite life message. Like, what do you get out of Star Wars that you apply to real life?
Oh, okay. Well, I guess it's pretty basic. It's do good and fight against evil.
We're all
I
trying
try
to do
to,
that, aren't we?
yeah, I try to do my best to be a good person and try to keep bad people away and try to fight the badness that's happening out there in the world. Try to do good and spread good. That's the message that I get from it.
Keep the negativity away, keep the positive flow going, and just
be the rebel.
That's exactly what I try and do with my YouTube channel. It's try and keep the place a positive, fun place to be in the Star Wars community, because we all, I don't know if you're on Facebook, but we all sort of get bogged down sometimes in the comment section of things, and there's just there's no time for that. I haven't got time for that crap anymore. So I'm just I'm just going to do what I want to do, enjoy my Star Wars, be happy that we've got anything at all,
for sure,
and just be positive place, be a positive person, and try and enjoy it.
I do the same thing. I have a Facebook page, Star Wars Obsessed Facebook group, and the only thing that goes there is positivity.
That's good.
And I've had to kick out a few people who were kind of like, not, they were just spreading bad things. So yes, positivity.
Yay for happiness.
Yep.
So do you have a favorite piece of Star Wars music?
Yes, I love Leia's theme.
Beautiful theme.
I think it's
absolutely incredible.
It's very melodic, and whereas a lot of the Star Wars themes is very marching kind of music.
Loud, bombastic.
Yeah, this is very beautiful and melodic and soft, and it just gives me the feels. And especially going back to The Empire Strikes Back, when they use it towards the end, and it swells, and then it's just like you get all emotional about it.
Yeah, especially my biggest memory with Leia's theme is basically there wasn't a dry eye in the house back at Star Wars Celebration Orlando in 2017. It was it was about 5 or 6 months after Carrie Fisher passed away, and they did a big presentation on the history of the saga and stuff like that. And then her daughter Billie Lourden came out, and she did her Leia's big speech from A New Hope from the hologram.
Oh, wow.
And she came out, and she had a white dress, she had the buns on, and you can
oh
tell
my
she
goodness
was so, and I'm getting goosebumps just talking about it. And then that finished. Like, you can go and see this online, I'm sure. And then everything sort of panned across, and some curtains drew open, and John Williams was there with his orchestra, and then played Leia's theme. And John Williams just sort of turned around. Everyone was cheering when they realized it was John Williams behind this curtain. He just sort of turned around and gave everyone just a little, he just did this, and the whole place just completely shut up. And he went on to play Leia's theme, and it was just, there was not a dry eye in the house after that moment. It was absolutely incredible. If you can track that down on YouTube,
I think I will. It sounds beautiful.
That's an a very emotional moment.
Yeah, I can imagine. I would have been crying my eyes out.
Oh, I think we all definitely miss, Carrie Fisher and her personality, from the world. I think just her spunk, her attitude was just,
oh yeah,
no bars given, no bars held. Sorry, she just shot from the hip.
Yeah,
and the world's missing that. But yeah, that was still such a fresh moment. She passed away. It was just as Rogue One was coming out. We had that little scene of her at the end of Rogue One, of young Leia, and then for that to happen, that was an emotional roller coaster. That was incredible.
Yeah, it sounds like it. I'm definitely gonna look for that.
Yeah, if I track it down, I'll send it to you myself. If you find it first, that's awesome. Mike says, I actually love the Rey theme. One amazing thing to come out of the sequels. I do love Rey's theme. I think that's a beautiful theme as well.
All right.
Jawa Merchant, TVC is $31 up here in Canada at Toys R Us. I can't keep collecting anymore.
Oh, dang.
Yeah.
No way.
Oh, they're sort of anywhere between 35 and 45 here in Australia. So it's depending on exclusivity and all that garbage. But yeah, generally most of them are 30 to 35.
I can't justify purchasing that stuff anymore as the prices keep going up. And, I was enjoying the retro collection, but then the prices of that has just gotten ridiculous. So I just have to.
What do the retro figures go for in the US? Where are they? Are they about $15 or $20?
Yeah, about $15. It's absurd.
Yeah, they're sort of 25, but they generally go on clearance after a few months. Like, I was able to get, when the Obi-Wan Kenobi series came out and they did those 6 figures, I picked up the Vader and the Obi-Wan, because I was just sort of, at the time I was like, oh, they're the only two I really want to get from the retro line. So I grabbed those two, paid full price, and then eventually they dropped in price and they went down for $5 each. So I got the other 4 for $20. So it kind of felt like I broke even when you space that out over the 6 figures. I kind of got a reasonable deal. So I'm kind of just doing that the same with the what have they done? They've done another Mandalorian. No, they've done the Ahsoka series wave and Book of Boba Fett. So I'm just waiting for them to go on sale, and then I'll start scooping them up as well, because they're not a focus of my collection. They're just cool things I'll pick up if they come on special now. But I do like them. I was really against them for a little bit, but then I just kept buying them.
Because they are pretty cool, vintage style. And I had to basically, I wanted to stop collecting because the prices got too high. But then when they released Mon Mothma in that freaking box set, I just went, okay, come on. Now you're just being greedy.
I still want to get that box set just for Mon Mothma and the Yak face, because I'm never going to get a real Yak face. Like, that's just out of the question. But I'd be happy to have a retro one on display with my vintage stuff. Like, I've got Tarkin up there with my vintage stuff. I never got the Snowspeeder Pilot Luke. So that's one that's missing, but I think you'd probably still get that on Tung Hori. So that's one that I could get at some point. But yeah.
I've heard you mention Tung Hori before. I don't think I know that. What is that?
There's a website. It's been around for years, 10 or 15 years. It used to be on eBay. TUNGHORI. It was just an eBay seller that somehow managed to get. It's always been speculated they're just like almost factory seconds of the figures. But I've never had any issues with them. Like, some people have occasionally got a figure that's come with like 2 left feet or missing soft goods or something. So it's like figures that have come out of the factory and not past QC.
Oh wow, okay.
But like I said, like, guys like Only One Kenobi, he's been buying from Tung Hori for years as well. Heaps of people have been buying from Tung Hori for years. It's very, very, very popular. But yeah, tunghori.com, seems to have been it goes through patches of availability of figures and stuff like that, but it's worth checking out for loose figures, for a reasonable price. Sometimes some rare stuff will pop up, and it's just like, okay, this is a little bit random. Like, where did these come from? No one really knows. They sell, people get them, and it's all good. Like, there's never been too many dramas there. But like I said, you may find them missing some accessories, or 2 left feet or 2 left hands or something like that.
Okay, I'll check it out. But
yeah, Tony here, Darth Phoenix 619 says I bought from Tung Hori with no issues either. So yeah,
excellent.
And you can sort of pay with PayPal, and it's easy, and yeah, it's good. It's no problems there. So if you're after some loose stuff, worth having a look.
All right, I'm gonna look at it.
Yeah,
I'm gonna look at it right now.
So we're sort of talking collecting because it's perfect timing, because we're sort of going into the collecting sort of portion of questions. Obviously, you can see behind you, you are a long-time collector. It's an awesome looking room. Love it.
Thank you.
What's your favorite item in your collection?
Can I just be more generalized? I love my vintage collection.
Go for it. Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
I kept thinking about it, and I'm like, I just
it's hard to
don't have a favorite. Yeah, but I just love all of my vintage stuff.
Yeah.
Because it's been with me since the 70s and 80s, and it has a lot of memories of that time, and using the figures and playing with the figures, and acting out stories with the figures and the toys and all that stuff with my friends. So they all have a lot of memories attached to it. So I just love all of my vintage stuff.
Is there one particular of the Kenner figures that stands out as your favorite? Like, for me, it's probably a tie between I don't know. It's a sort of a three-way tie between Admiral Akbar, Bosk, and Sice Noodles. I don't know. I love
Those are
the
some
weird,
interesting choices. Yeah. Why
and
those?
Anakin. Sorry. I don't know. Sice Noodles, it's insane. Like it's just a weird-looking alien. Bosk, I think I just like it's a lizard in a spacesuit. It's just that's sort of the weird and wacky wonderful. Same with Akbar. I'm just sort of looking. Where's Akbar? He's there somewhere. There he is.
Like...
There's a fish in a suit.
Yeah.
And my Admiral Akbar's pretty. He's in pretty decent condition too. Nice tight joints, nice clean paint. I just like the look of him. I don't know. There's just something about those particular figures, and Anakin Skywalker from the Force Ghost Anakin. Like that's more so for sentimental value than anything. That was one that it sort of inspired my imagination as a kid because my auntie, so she had the Anakin Skywalker that it was gifted to her by her son, and every time I'd visit, I always look at this Anakin. My imagination just swelled with this is before the prequels. Just swelled with the ideas of who Anakin Skywalker was, and she had a Bendham's Obi-Wan Kenobi, which I have in my collection now. She gave me both of these figures a few years ago. So they're both very sentimental to my childhood because, I'd get the Obi-Wan and the Anakin down and I'd, just sort of play with them together, imagining what kind of adventures they went on before he became Vader. Not sort of understanding that Anakin was depicted as, a Force ghost more than anything, but sort of just pictured this guy with Obi-Wan Kenobi, running around on adventures, not sort of realizing that Anakin was eventually ended up being quite young when he turned into Vader. Like it was, never really thought about it. They both just look like old dudes. So that's kind of my favorites.
I the same thing with me when I got the Anakin figure. I didn't realize it was the Force Ghost Anakin.
Yeah.
For years until actually recently when Stan Solo Creations released their own version of the Force Ghost Anakin, and then I realized, oh my god, that makes so much more sense.
Yeah,
that it's the Force Ghost because that's all we saw at the end of Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, and
and then the blue eyes. That should have been a clue.
Like that, or he's been on Arrakis, is exposed to the spice.
There you go.
He's been hanging out with the Fremen. But yeah, I love the Anakin. That's probably one of my favorite pieces. But yeah,
well, that's great that you have this emotional attachment to it. That's great.
Yeah, and considering it's not from my era, like that came out, what was that, 84, 85, 84? Yeah. So it was, 3 or 4 years before I was born. So it's, to have an attachment to a figure from an era before me, it's just kind of cool. It's just kind of cool.
Yeah. It's excellent.
Java Merchant says my N1 Starfighter is my favorite. That's cool.
Right on.
Interested to see whether that's the yellow one or the new Mandalorian one. Interested to hear what one. Is there anything in your collection you consider to be slightly unusual, something different, something unique?
Yes, I do. I went to Japan a few years ago, and I was actually looking for bootleg Star Wars.
Awesome.
And I kept asking all the store. I went to Akihabara, and that's basically the geek area.
Yeah.
And I kept asking, "Where's the bootleg Star Wars?" And I don't think they wanted to tell me because they kept saying, "Oh, maybe in this store. We go to this store." No bootleg. But so I was just looking around because I wanted to find something that you could only get in Japan.
Yeah.
And I found this Egg Force.
I'm just going to.
And basically what it is a figure. Yeah.
There we
go.
Trying
to get the light in it, but
yeah.
Egg Force Darth Vader.
Now that's sort of like they transform into an egg.
Yes. So you can see that it has the Japanese on here, but
Yeah,
there it is. So here is the egg, the
that
egg
is
shaped.
fantastic.
And then you just, you know, transform, take it out, take off the back, and
Yep.
then pull the legs down just like this. Okay.
Wow.
And then the head, you pull open the chest, and then you take out Darth Vader's head. Okay, and then
That is
close it.
cool.
And then this is supposed to act as a cape. So you pull that
Okay.
and then push it here, and it kind of acts like the cape. So
I
there's
see. Yeah.
the Egg Force, Darth Vader,
Love
and
that.
his lightsaber.
That is cool.
It's very different. Yeah. Had to
Yeah,
get this.
that is extremely unusual and awesome. I love that. That's
For sure.
that's
And the
fantastic.
other thing that I got a few years ago that I thought was really quirky and just bizarre is the planet Alderaan.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that.
I just thought it was really silly and it was at a low price. So I thought, oh, I'll just get this just for the laughs.
Just got to print the cardboard and then pick a couple of rocks out of the garden and you're done.
That's
so
pretty much what it is. Yeah. It's pretty awesome.
That is fantastic. No,
so these are yeah. So these are basically the most unique items and the quirkiest items in my collection.
I love that. That's fantastic.
The only difficult thing is like getting this lightsaber in his hand is quite a challenge because it's got this hole and it doesn't want to stay in very well.
Okay.
But yeah.
That's cool. I love it. Is there anything in your that you'd love to have in your collection that you don't have? Is there a holy grail you've been seeking and have yet to find?
Holy grails would be more like it.
Yeah.
I would really like to get the droids collection and the Ewoks collection from Kenner.
Yep.
And I only got C3PO and R2D2.
Yeah.
Back in the day, because at the time I think I was kind of anti the cartoons, basically the silly cartoons. And I just thought, no, I don't like these characters. They're dumb, and but C3PO and R2D2 got to have those, right? But now I just, fondly think back, okay, that was back in a day, when in the innocence of Star Wars, before all the politics, before all the everything was convoluted. And so now I just would like to add those to my collection. The only problem is they are really expensive.
Yeah. Would you go for loose or carded?
Most likely loose.
Yeah.
I was able to get only one. I got one from one of the Ewoks collection. It's Princess. It's one of the green characters from Ewoks, the bad ones.
Yeah.
And somebody just happened to be selling it a few years ago on Facebook Marketplace for $40, and it was carded. Wow. And I just said, "Oh yeah, I'll get that." But so far, everything else has been just way too expensive.
Yeah, I can't recall even ever seeing, at least here in Australia, I haven't seen any of those figures loose ever.
Oh my goodness.
Or carded. I don't know I don't know much history as to whether they even showed up down here in Australia at the time. Very little knowledge for the specifically the droids and Ewok stuff. Whether they even came out down here, I'm not sure. But generally, you sort of find those sort of rarer kind of ones. Sometimes they'll pop up at like a toy fair or a boot sale or something like that, and someone will have some last 17 stuff. But I have no recollection outside of going to like Star Wars Celebration and seeing seeing stuff over there, going to Rancho Obi-Wan and seeing stuff in Steve Sansweet's collection. Yeah, I don't recall ever seeing them aside from online. So,
oh wow,
yeah, that'd be an interesting one. It might be tough to get down here. I'm not too sure, but
did you say you went to Rancho Obi-Wan?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that was just after Star Wars Celebration in 2017.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah, it was an incredible time.
Yeah, I'm sure. That's on my bucket list.
Yeah, I'd do it. I mean, you're in the same state.
Yeah, definitely.
It was about, I don't know, it was a 2 or 3 hour drive from San Francisco up to Petaluma.
Uh-huh.
Beautiful countryside out through there. It was weird driving in the wrong side of the road and in the wrong side of the car, but I did it. I played enough Grand Theft Auto that I sort of just slotted in with the traffic and went for it.
Did you stay the day? Stay overnight?
No, just went there for an afternoon tour. It was about 3 or 4 hours. Steve did the tour himself. You can book in with him specifically. He takes you for about a 3 or 4 hour tour of the place and lots of stories and yeah, just incredible experience. Incredible.
Yeah, I'll definitely have to do that.
Yeah, Tony, yours very close. So he's just in Sacramento. So yeah, we drove to Sacramento after that.
Oh, you got to go.
After that, yeah, definitely. It's worth your time and money, big time.
For sure.
So one other collecting sort of focus question. This is a question I haven't reworked this one yet because it gets pretty much the same response. It's just nice to hear it. So I want to try and get some different responses out of this question and rework it, but we'll just go with it this time. What is it about Star Wars memorabilia that you think is important to fans and also to you?
I really don't think I'm going to give you a different response than everybody else has been giving you.
That's okay. That's fine.
Because basically it's just being a part of the universe. Yeah. You have these things in your hand and you can imagine yourself as being, in the Star Wars universe, in those worlds. Even especially when you were a kid and you were just playing with them and just imagining yourself in all that, acting out the stories, acting out your own stories, and just wanting to collect all of that and being a part of that adventure. And then as an adult, you can do the same thing, because I look in my room and I don't have to take my figures down and go, I'm going to fight you, Obi-Wan. I could just, look at these.
Oh, I still do that.
Oh my gosh. There you go.
Yeah. So when I'm bored,
I'm sure I've done that several times. But yeah, I just look around and, just fiddle with the figures and just imagine, being part of that and just with the ships. And it also helps that I, have the YouTube channel called Star Wars Obsessed.
There's a link in the description and
link in the description.
It's swinging by on the bottom of the, they're easy to find.
So, that's another thing, I looking at the collectibles and the toys and just imagine, touching them and being a part of that and being nostalgic about this, especially in my flashback Star Wars Obsessed episodes, where I basically go back and talk about the vintage toy line and all and the history and all that. So yeah, that's pretty much where it's at.
That's awesome. Yeah. No, it's yeah, like you said, very similar answer. But I think we're all collecting. All of us collectors, we're all on the same page there. So yeah, it's a question I'd like to rework, to try and get some variations of different answers or something. So anyone got any suggestions of how to reword that question, let me know, please. So yeah, just sort of a couple more questions from my list. What are you most looking forward to in the future of Star Wars?
And Are you referring to Star Wars in general, as in
Yeah.
media or toy collecting?
Oh,
Or
either
oh,
way, take the question as you will.
well, I'm looking forward to the Mandalorian movie because
Hmm.
I love that series. I think it's brilliant. And I love the Mandalorian and Grogu and their relationship, and I'm hoping that the movie is going to be spectacular.
Mm,
I did enjoy Ahsoka, so I'm looking forward to another season of Ahsoka.
big time.
There's one thing that I guess I have a wish for the future of Star Wars, in that they go back to the classic characters
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and fill out adventures for them. Because they kind of did it with Luke,
Yeah.
on the Mandalorian, and it was wonderful to see that. And I think I have a feeling a lot more people would enjoy that. Seeing
Mm,
the original characters in expanded adventures. Like they
yeah.
did with the
Well,
original Marvel comic books.
yeah. Yeah, like we were saying before, there's that 30-year gap between Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens. There's a lot of room to fill. I kind of get the
Yeah,
feeling that they're going to pick that up at some point. I think for now, I think they need to expand on the universe to get it to grow beyond that. But at the same time, you're always going to have the root of Star Wars being with those original characters: Luke, Leia, Han, Chewie, Lando, C-3PO, R2D2, for example. And we've seen great leaps and bounds in terms of the technology used to deepfake. You know, between Luke in Book of Boba Fett and his appearance at the end of Mandalorian, that's
oh
apples
yeah,
and oranges. Um, and someone was, I still haven't watched the last Indiana Jones movie, but they said, the Harrison Ford flashback stuff at the first half of the movie, or first half an hour of the movie, it's incredible. So I think they're probably doing a George Lucas here and just going, well, we need to wait for the technology to catch up. We need to push that technology to get it to a point where it is seamless.
oh. So
And
you
what
think
they're
it's
doing,
important that we have uh basically instead of recasting the characters, you think it's important that they just use the original visage of
yeah,
the actors? You think that's more important?
I've kind of gone a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. I think had they not done the characters already through the sequel trilogy, like if they didn't use Mark Hamill as an older Luke, didn't use Harrison Ford as older Han Solo, didn't use Carrie Fisher as an older Leia, I think they could then have that sort of creative freedom to recast younger actors. But specifically for those three, and Billy D. Williams as Lando Calrissian, I think
Yeah,
there's because they're portrayed at an older age in the sequel trilogy, you need to have that sort of continuity between. Because if you're going from Mark Hamill to, for all intents and purposes, Sebastian Stan from Winter Soldier, Bucky Barnes, that's been
yeah,
the number one sort of casting for Luke, fan
yeah.
casting anyway. To then jump back to see an older Mark Hamill, I think that's going to be too jarring for the fans. I don't think you can suspend that disbelief that much. I do agree to the point where the actors have to become bigger than the characters. Oh, sorry, the characters have to be bigger than the actors that portray them. But with that much legacy behind them, I don't think you can. I don't know. It's a tricky one, and
Yeah,
there's a lot of morality issues behind it. With how long do you do it for? There
right.
and how is it going to look? How is it going to feel? It needs to feel. If they're going to do something big in between episode 6 and 7, it needs to be a big thing, and it needs to be done right. So I feel like they will get back to it, but they need to perfect that balance of what's new, what's old, how to fit it in the middle there, and bleed it all together. Yeah,
I,
that's
I
basically where I'm at with it in my head.
I like it.
Whereas if if they were to skip forward to go say 40 years after episode 7, 8, and 9, and you want an older Rey, an older Finn, an older Poe Dameron, for example, you could go and recast older actors that are 40 years older and do that fine because they haven't got that far yet.
Oh yeah.
But just the way the story's structured and you're trying to fill in gaps, I think you need to possess the most of technology to bring those characters to their truest form. Having nearly 50 years of those characters from A New Hope, it's just a big legacy to handle. I think and recasting, I don't think it would quite work in between.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, like I think personally it worked for Han Solo, going back and showing his younger days, and how I think Alden Ehrenreich did a fantastic job in Solo. A lot of people found it a little bit jarring, wasn't quite Harrison Fordy enough, but I think it worked. Whereas if they'd had, you know what I'm trying to say? Like if they'd had Harrison Ford when he was a teenager do a movie 60 years ago, and then, you wouldn't be able to fit him in the middle there as a different actor.
Right.
So that's kind of where my head's at for that.
Okay. I like it.
So we'll see how things go, but I think for the moment, just focusing on improving the technology, just perfecting that, streamlining it, getting that deep fake technology. I think it could use a better name. Just really perfecting it.
I agree.
Timbo Toys says hello. Hey, Timbo Toys.
Hello.
Either of you working on a new video? I've always got videos coming out each and every week. So not at the very moment, but I will probably on my day off. Maybe later this afternoon I'll start recording a couple of videos. But for the moment. How about yourself?
I'm am I working on a video today? No. Maybe tomorrow I'm working on a video. I have videos that I release on Mondays and Wednesdays and Fridays. Fridays is Flashback Friday. Hello. Seriously, Star Wars. Excellent.
Thanks, Christopher.
Look at those legends on the screen.
We're all seriously Star Wars obsessed.
But yeah, I have a video in mind for Wednesday.
Awesome. So last question to wrap up. What does Star Wars and being a Star Wars fan mean to you?
Oh, that's so deep.
I think we've kind of covered it, but
we pretty much have. It means,
your name, your online alias pretty much says that. Pretty much gives you the answer.
Yeah. But Star Wars is, if I can expand on it a little bit more, it's whoops. There we go.
They really need to make those things with cords attached.
Yeah. So it's always been, Star Wars has always been the Star Wars universe has always been something that I see and I would love to be a part of. I would love to be able to do what happens in Star Wars, space travel, going to different planets and seeing different aliens and creatures and then experiencing magic, the Force being, the magic and the powers and all that. It's just a wonderful creative world to be a part of, and I think that's why it stays with me, because it's something that I just love and enjoy and would love to be a part of. And also it's about, and I mentioned this before, and that is taking the message of, rebelling against evil and just being a good person and spreading the goodness throughout the universe.
Yep. No, absolutely. I'm with you there. Absolutely couldn't have said it better myself. No, it's yeah, it's just it's a positive. It's a positive, and there's so much negativity in the world. It is really hard to escape from. You know, constant news reports on wars, and you know, just people doing terrible things out there to one another. It's just be good. Just when you wake up in the morning, just gonna tell yourself, just be a good person today. Just don't be an a-hole. Just
right.
You don't have to disrespect people that you don't know. Just treat everyone. Yeah. If you don't have anything nice to say, I'm starting to sound like my mother. You don't have anything nice to say to anyone, don't say anything at all.
Yeah.
And that goes for Facebook too. You're behind a little picture there and little name, and people like to say things they wouldn't say to anyone in public.
Yeah, for sure.
Because there'd be a few more broken noses out there if that was the case.
Oh yeah.
But yeah. Oh, what are your plans for the rest of the evening?
Relaxing. I made that video that I'm producing for Wednesday. I got to plan it out. I got to think about how I'm going to write it, because I'm going to have to write some dialogue for it, because it's going to have Dark Richard. If anybody's interested in that or know about Dark Richard, he's making a return.
Nice.
Star Wars is all of our escape from the real world. Yes, for sure.
Absolutely.
But most of it would just be relaxing. How about you?
Yeah, I think very much the same. I'm just going to go out for a little bit this afternoon. It is almost 12:30 Sunday afternoon here, so it's I got a few things to do around the house, and run a couple of errands this afternoon, but nothing too serious. Probably come and hang out back in here if I can get the room to cool down a little bit. It is sort of getting a little bit stuffy in here now, so obviously it's warming up outside.
Oh yeah, my goodness.
I don't know.
Really hot day.
I don't know what this is in Fahrenheit, but it's top of 31 Celsius today, which isn't hot, but it's still a warm day. So I'm not sure what that is in Fahrenheit, but
I think that's about the high 70s.
Could be.
Yeah, I'm trying to learn Celsius as well.
Yeah, I can imagine it's a tricky thing to learn after years of knowing the other form of measurement. I don't know what you call it,
right?
Like
Fahrenheit,
imperial and metric, and then
yeah.
I'm not sure that they're part of the same thing, but yeah. I just want to say thank you very much for taking some time out of your Saturday evening to come and join me and come and talk some Star Wars. Anywhere else you want to promote yourself, feel free, go ahead. Obviously, I've got a link to your YouTube channel in the description down below. Plus, at the bottom of the video, there is your Instagram handle and your YouTube address as it goes across the screen there. Anywhere else folks can find you? Or
thank you for inviting me. This was a lot of fun. I appreciate it.
My pleasure.
But you can find me on Instagram at The Real Star Wars Obsessed. I also have a Facebook group. It's Star Wars Obsessed on Facebook. And you can find me on YouTube as a Star Wars Obsessed. But I just also want to mention that I have another YouTube channel called Star Wars Obsessed Shorts.
Okay.
And basically that one is for videos that I can't think of that go beyond a minute.
Yep.
Like, well, this is pretty cool, but I can't think of anything else to talk about it. But here it is, a minute worth. So I put that on Star Wars Obsessed Short. So please check that out and subscribe and give thumbs up.
I'm doing that right now. Done. I have subscribed, sir.
Oh, thank you.
But yeah, again, thank you very much.
It's like I don't post a lot of videos on that one. It's mostly the main channel that I do. But when I think of something that's really short, like I just like, oh, look at this thing I got. And then that's it. So it goes on the shorts.
Cool. I like that. Linda says it's humid because of the rain. Yeah, she's over here in Adelaide as well. But yeah, we did have a little bit of rain overnight. Yeah, I'm not a fan of humidity. Not a fan of humidity.
Way.
It's a bit gross.
Yeah, when I went to
customs, nice.
Oh, right on. When I went to Florida to check out the Galactic Star Cruiser, so I had to go to Galaxy's Edge, and it was the worst heat and humidity I've ever experienced, and I never want to experience that again.
Yeah, I thought it was humid over in Florida myself when I was over there 2017. Like I was glad the convention center where Celebration was heavily air conditioned. Like it was so nice inside the second you walk outside. But I took a trip up to last month. I went up to Darwin up in the Northern Territory, right at the top end of Australia last month. And I've never experienced humidity like that in my life. Like it was just a step out of the airplane terminal, and it's thick, damp air. It was the wet season. Boom. Yeah, because they don't have the typical 4 seasons up there like we do further south and the further away from the equator you get. It's wet season and dry season.
Oh, okay.
And it was wet season up there. It was wet, so I was walking around in no shoes, shorts, and singlets or tank tops all week, and you just sweat all the time. And beautiful part of the world, but next time I'll be going up in the dry season because I can deal with dry heat more than I can wet heat.
Wow! No way.
Yeah. No, if you're not a humidity person, like you're obviously being in California, be used to a lot of dry heat. So that's
right.
You can deal with that. You can air condition easily, and you can find a way to be a bit more comfortable. But when it's humid, that's a struggle.
For sure.
But yeah, I think we'll wrap it up. I just want to say thank you again. Next week I'll make sure I put up a post a little bit earlier this week. I tend to get a little bit lost throughout the week and forget to put posts up and stuff. So thank you for putting your post up on your Instagram yesterday. That reminded me to remind all the folks that what was going on today. Next week we're talking to Brian, Metal Jedi. He was in the chat earlier. Can't wait to chat with him. I know he's been looking forward to it. And then next month I've booked in Tony, also known as Darth Phoenix 619, for a conversation. So I'm really looking forward to catching up with him. Been a long time since we've had a good chat with Tony, so I'm really looking forward to talking with him. And then, I'm pretty much open. So if there's anyone that's interested in coming on for a chat, please, either shoot me an email, shoot me a direct message on Instagram. That's probably the best way to get at me. I'm looking at trying to do a couple each month. So,
all right. So if you ever have a return guest, do you have another set of questions?
Haven't got that far yet.
All right.
But I've got some ideas for the future where I'd love to get some return guests on. So an invitation will definitely go out at some point. Whether those plans come to fruition or not, yet to be seen. But what I'm doing here is sort of still in its infancy this year. I used to do it on my podcast, Star Wars Go Figure, a few years ago. We're doing something very, very similar, getting different Star Wars fans on for a conversation and get to know people as Star Wars fans. And it's just something I wanted to get back into this year. And that started with Christopher Seriously Star Wars back in December. So I'm sort of aiming at just sort of structuring it a little bit better throughout the rest of the year, doing one every couple of weeks or 2 a month, whatever works best for everyone else. Just trying to get some different people from all different areas of the world. It's been really good so far. I've had a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to getting to the end of the year and then sort of looking back and revisiting all those conversations and just sort of seeing how that pans out throughout a 12-month period. I think it's going to be really, really fun. So I'm glad you could join me. I hope you've had a great time.
Oh, I did. Thank you.
Awesome, folks. Well, thanks everyone for in the chat for coming and hanging out. Go subscribe to Richard on Star Wars Obsessed. Go follow him on Instagram. Do all that cool stuff. Subscribe to me if you're not. I'm sure that's why you're here, because you already are. We'll see you next week. Stay tuned, and may the Force be with you always.
Bye.